Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of The Blacklist. So this week's Blacklister was a lady named Pattie, and it's kind of an interesting setup because you had the whole thing about her releasing like that virus and everything, and then you turn, like, I really was surprised when it's like, oh, she's actually curing them. I'm like, what is this? I was like, she's trying to make some kind of statement. I thought that's what this was kind of like about, like, indirectly, kind of a similar thing happened this week with like the Flash in a certain sense. I'm not going to go down that route just because that's going to be a huge tangent. But nevertheless, it's kind of like I thought she was trying to make some statement by releasing the virus, but she was also curing people potentially. So I was like, where's the point of that? And we end up finding out why, because basically her husband was in the military, much like herself. But basically, he was killed in self-defense by this guy named Caleb for the purpose of like, oh yeah, your husband, he was trying to steal opium, and it's like, I killed him out of self-defense because he was trying to fight because I found out. But basically, we end up finding out everything she's done, releasing this virus, getting people cured, is because she modified it so that when the CDC put it in her system, it would basically act as like, it's a biological virus, but the moment it's introduced into their system, it's so interesting to know that the CDC does that. It's not just like, oh, they catalog it in a sense of like, oh, they have these written records that maybe they digitize. They literally digitize the, or is it supposed to be that? I don't know how to interpret it. I might sound like an idiot here, but I know nothing about viruses and how the CDC works and how they categorize stuff and how they digitize stuff. Like, are they literally scanning the virus samples and then putting it up there? And the moment those samples enter the system, it kind of acts like a computer virus. Where I'm guessing that's how it. Nevertheless, I sound like a completely ignorant idiot because I am an ignorant idiot. But nevertheless, it seems like everything she did was for the purposes of getting the truth about her husband. She tracked down Caleb, she poisoned, or she like infected him, but like the inhaler she had that she kept using throughout the episode broke because he stepped on it, so they're both screwed. And when the time came for it, Russell was like, hey, so either you confess to the truth that she's looking for, or I'll let you die. He's like, come on. And it's like, Russell's like, well, and even the lady, Pattie was kind of like, he's going to die. And Russell's like, I guess so. Kind of playing that border. And so, like I said, it's such an interesting thing because I feel like, and that showed you how much wrestlers changed too, just over the course of the series. Because like he was like the golden boy. He would never be willing, even for this situation. But at the same time, I guess it's like this is a wife who went through. Yes, she's done some terrible, very bad things. Yes, she cured people, but she still potentially hurt a lot of people. Caused a lot of a situation like people could have died. Who's to say her cure would have necessarily worked? But nevertheless, just seeing him crossing that line kind of like that, because it's like, hey, she deserves to know the truth about everything. So he ends up confessing. And so like him and the other people, because it turns out her husband, Dennis, stumbled across him. He was actually investigating who was stealing the opium. It turns out it's Caleb and a whole bunch of other people. And Caleb ended up killing him for finding out. So she still gets arrested, but her husband gets a proper burial because I'm sure like, I mean, I'm not that familiar with the military, but the way like he actually, it seems like at the end of the episode, he got a proper burial. I think with a situation like that, whether it's like, oh, you were kind of killed in the process of committing a crime, you probably don't get like a proper burial. You get buried, but it's probably like, you're very dishonored, and it's like, oh, this person or her husband died. Yeah, because I remember because he had a regular grave, so. He probably never actually had a military funeral because it's just like, oh, he was kind of a disgrace to the military in their eyes because of what he did. Turns out not to be the case. So you do see Russell kind of looking at it, kind of like it's a situation where it's like she deserves to go to jail for what she did. She did a bad thing, but at the same time, you understand why she did it. So I did also appreciate in this episode that it ended with Aram going inside of an infected zone and everything, and Samar's trying to keep him calm and everything. She's like, you're gonna make it out of there alive, and kisses him on the cheek, and he's smiling at everything, and she's like, what? He's like, I have to go to the bathroom. It's like, and everyone's like, oh, really? And he's like, I'm just kidding, I'm just trying to lighten up the mood. It's like, seriously, dude? Like I was like, I was like, oh my god, Aram, I thought he was gonna say something sweet, like, oh my god, thanks, like you're the best, like, because like I said, it's so cute because Samara is always kind of like the serious one. She's kind of, and it's so cute seeing her be all adorable around. Like they brought it up multiple times this season. Yes, okay, we get it, Samara. Aram's adorable. We got it. Shut up about it already. That type of thing, and it's so adorable. Even to the point she's trying to keep him calm when he's like kind of like running out of like, oxygen and stuff under the circumstances. So luckily nothing happened. He got the information they needed and they bounced. So that's one side of the story. Another side of the story that I really liked is basically Reddington's trying to burn down the business that he's using as a front for laundering his criminal money and criminal business because they're about to be audited. And so that was super good. That's why he wanted Earl's help. It's like, Earl, I need you to burn this place down. It's like Earl's like, I can't do that. It's like waving, it's like waving a addict's vice in front of him. Like, it's like putting alcohol in front of an alcoholic type of situation. That might have been the exact comparison he used. I can't remember. But he's not really all for it. But then he kind of like, okay, fine, I'll do it. Then Reddington talks to the auditor, and it's like the auditor's like, okay, it's like, okay, it's like he's like, oh, what do you want? It's like, I want to get my son into this college, but the dean won't let me put my son get in because because I audited the dean's sister, and because of that, he's super pissed at me and holding against me. So then Reddington goes to the dean and asks for his help, but then he's like, nah, I can't budge on this. And then, so basically the dean was trying to buy this old lady's property because they wanted to build like a football field or something like that, for the team or whatever. But then he was like, but Reddington kind of stepped in and kind of screwed up the deal. And he was like, fine. So the dean agrees, and then like Reddington takes this back to the auditor, but then the auditor's like, honestly, I'm not working this case anymore. It's kind of got picked on, someone else got it. I really appreciate what you did. And then Reddington's like, okay, yeah, forget that, sorry, and takes Sir Jersey back. So I'm wondering, was that completely undone? Did Reddington go back on his words? Did he go like, okay, I'll still help you out with the whole like lockers and everything, I'll make this contribution, but you don't have to worry about letting that dude's kid in? I hope he still let the kid in, just because his dad kind of screwed you over, which wasn't necessarily his fault, but maybe it was. Maybe it's because like, oh, he's so terrible at his job that they're like, you know what, we're not going to let you do this case, we're just going to put you on something else. Or maybe because it's such a severe thing that they're like, oh yeah, we want one of our top auditor people to look into it or something. So first it was on, let's burn down the business. It's like, no, it's off, let's handle this a different way. Oh wait, it's not going to work that way? Okay, let's proceed to burn the business now. But then Reddington's like, you know what, I'm not going to burn the business down. Because in all honesty, we'll find a different way. Because for him, it's like, I honestly kind of like this business. He's grown attached to it. What he ended up doing was basically, Earl ended up burning the stuff they needed to audit him. I guess all the evidence, all the stuff that's like, oh yeah, like this is, I don't know what it is exactly an auditor needs. Like I said, he never really specified. He was just kind of like, oh, the stuff I needed to audit you, it's going. It's like, I would assume that meant like files and stuff like that. It's like, you don't have backups or something like that. Like, because the way he makes it sound, it's like almost like he needed a specific, it's almost like, oh, I need this specific thing to audit you, not just files and stuff like that. Like, evidence, either way, I don't know. I know nothing about auditing, so it's kind of went over my head in that case. But it's like, hey, when it's all said and done, it's like, oh yeah, for now, Reddington's okay, and it's like, oh, it's all good. But what's also interesting is, at first there was that whole conversation he had with Earl. Earl's like, I just want, he's talking about like what, Red's like, oh, are you going to do it or not? He's like, is that a yes? Is that a no? Or are you just talking in haikus that mean absolutely nothing? He's like, I want someone who can, and Earl was like, I want someone who can see the fire in my eye. He's like, I can see the fire in your eyes. Honestly, it scares me a little. So it does seem like we will probably be seeing Earl more. Because I was wondering if I felt like it had something to do with main plot purposes. I mean, to be fair, that still affects the main plot because it's like, obviously Reddington's having to start over subsequent, since Kate dismantled his whole business. So this is that step. This is in that direction. So it's like, well, it allows him to keep the business, Because I even love Smokey being like, oh, you're trying to, I knew it. I knew you were going to sell me and Hetty out just the moment you get a chance. And you even have Reddington be like, Smokey, shut up. Let me handle this. Because he's like, basically Reddington can like get away from all of this, but it's kind of got Smokey and Hetty all over it. So they're the ones that would kind of serve jail time, which is like, your business partners. Reddington actually looks after people. I mean, except for people who screw him over, but you've been good to him. So obviously you're kind of like his A-team. So obviously he's not going to screw you over because you basically help him keep his business afloat. So, criminal enterprise. I guess we call this Reddington Enterprise 2.0, I guess would be the proper title for it, but nevertheless. So, for now, everything's kind of good. So, but getting back to what I was bringing up, Earl does seem like it is going to be more work for Earl in the future, which might pertain to more plot related stuff in particular going forward, but we'll see. I love that he's telling Earl, like, here, read this book. It'll help you learn to kind of control yourself a little bit more, and I'll kind of help you vent that little bit of like that fire bug inside of you that I kind of lit by making you do this, even though you're trying to fight your old nature. So I was like, oh, I might have some work from you from time to time. So we are not done with Earl. So I'm very interested to see what else Reddington has planned for him. Who's about to go into the other part of the episode. I really love that Reddington showed up at Singleton's place, like broke in. He's like, "What are you?" And he's literally there talking about the sheets. And so Singleton went to Liz and Cooper is like, "That man broke into my house to talk about my bed." And it's like Reddington's just very theatrical. He just wanted to, prove a point. And even then later on, it's like, Reddington, don't do that. Which Reddington kind of brings up an interesting point. He's like, we're talking about taking down a dirty cop, which obviously, cops don't always take down cops because there's kind of, the whole blue veil situation. So it's like, oh, there's plenty of, kind of taking it real world wise. It's like, oh, there's plenty of cops that kind of get away from killing innocent people. And this is a situation that is like, do you really think that your justice system will handle this properly? That they won't just get away with it? He's basically saying, I want you to get this straight in your head right now, Liz, to get prepared for it. This will be solved in the street. So meaning that someone would have to physically take care of, the people involved with Tom's murder, because it's not going to be something that's dealt with in the courtroom. So that is something, because for Liz, which I'm not too surprised about, because I feel like Liz is going along with the whole like, oh, we'll arrest them thing, but it's like always in the back of my mind, I'm like, she's always wanted them dead. Like Tom is dead, she's going to make sure that the guy, everyone who had anything to do with Tom's death she wants them dead. But also, like, I'm sure in particular she wants Damascus, but we know, we already knew him as Ian. Like, we definitely know she wants Ian dead. So to me, it seems like she might be already prepared, but I think it was also ready to saying, like, the fact of the matter is, when it comes down to that, what are you going to do? Because he knows that if he gets away, Liz is going to want revenge, and it's going to be something that she has to deal with personally, not as an FBI agent, not as a cop, as just a widow and a mother that she will have to handle it, So I think that's kind of the more so the point that Reddington was trying to get across. Maybe it is a type of situation where also kind of saying, like, it could also just be purely like, if you want justice, you have to get it for yourself. You will have to get it for yourself. Because I'm sure he doesn't, because he knows, like, there's a whole conversation he had last episode with the therapist, but it's like, he knows that Liz is a good person. So I think more so than anything, he's preparing her for that, so that when the time comes, she doesn't. He wants her to think about it so she doesn't actually cross that line, because most likely he'll cross it for her, because it's like, I'm a bad guy. I've hurt and killed a lot of people already. I'm a criminal, so it kind of comes with this territory. It's not going to weigh any bigger on my soul. Like, I don't want that on my daughter's heart and her conscience, So even if this guy wronged her and killed a man that she loves, took away her daughter's father, he still doesn't want her carrying that for the rest of her life. If he has to carry it, so what, So even had, like, the moment they brought it up in this episode, like, that Singleton and Liz were bonding, I was like, he's dead. He's super dead. He's up here bringing up his family, him and his wife being separated, and she's got a new man in her life, and his daughters being. I was like, he's dead. He's super dead. They're trying to lay the trap for Damascus. They took the bait, and ultimately, like, they ended up finding out, yep, it is. The address to the phone line that they ended up getting. It's like, oh, like, you had Singleton being like, dial the number. I was like, don't. Liz is literally saying, let's get back up, but he hangs up, and it's like, oh God, this isn't going. Especially when Ian caught him, and Ian's like, you do anything stupid, I'm gonna kill your little girls are gonna have to suffer for it. And it's just like, man, that sucks. Ends up finding Singleton. He had been stabbed to death. I'm like, that sucks, dude. Like, I knew it, because it's like, oh, like I said, it was such a good twist, because it's like, oh man, he's a bad. I was like, oh man, Singleton's on this part. It's, oh no, he's not. He's actually a good guy. And the one ally she had in this situation is that, like I said, not everyone in that unit is probably dirty. At the very least, we know at least, I think, 2 members at least are dirty. I don't remember if that was the same guy that showed up. That same guy, he can't be a cop, because Singleton didn't recognize him. So Ian might be the only dirty cop that might be part of that group. I don't know. We'll see. But you have Liz, when she shows up at the crime scene, she hears Ian's voice and she realizes that's the dude who killed Tom, because she was kind of fading in and out of consciousness and she never looked at him, but she did hear his voice and his cadence and hearing it. And even see at one point in time, he looks towards her and she had just turned and looked at him and he met face eye to eye and it's like, yes! Because I thought the truth that they were kind of referencing in the preview, that's all bits of last week, is like, no, the truth they were talking about was his identity. Like, she now knows who it is that killed Tom, and she's coming after him full force. Well, not full force, because like now she knows Cooper or she told Cooper, now Cooper knows too. So it's like, I'm curious to see what goes down going forward with this, because with that new information, she's finally met the man who basically destroyed her life, ruined everything. What will she do now? Like, I'm sure there's no like evidence they can really use that tie him to it. I wonder, will she confront him? The fact is that they saw face to face makes you wonder, does Ian know that she knows? I mean, to be fair, he knows Singleton was kind of deep into this stuff, so he knows Singleton had figured him out. So I'm wondering, does he know for sure that Singleton told Liz? I wonder how is Liz going to play this? Is she going to be like, oh, hi, have we met before? Is she going to play it up like that? Or is she just going to like outright confront him? There's so many different possibilities. What about Reddington? How will Reddington play this? I mean, Reddington taking action, I don't see him not doing this. But there's also another part to play in this, because Ian has the suitcase. So I was like, Reddington has to be careful about how he plays this too, because that's still a chess piece on a board that he has to be concerned about, whatever that truth is, which that's also throws another angle to this, because let's not forget, Liz wants to know what Tom died for, so she's going to find out whatever truth. She hasn't brought it up in a while, but she's still aiming for that truth that Reddington is hiding from her, so that's another angle too. He has to make sure that whatever happens to Ian, he gets that before anyone else does, especially Liz. So we are tiptoeing closer and closer to that situation, but also like tipping closer and closer to Liz getting her revenge. And I'm so excited to see how this all plays out going forward. But really, that's all I want to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, love life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and good